I've said the same thing with Gus. I was like, if you get hit back. However, the best feeling ever is when you were able to completely shut someone down, like completely do it without violence. I've been in.
I think that's probably true for someone who's never actually hit somebody really good. I haven't, by the way. Like,
so I've been in a few fights as a kid in high school and as a kid, and playing lacrosse and football. But the best I ever feel is when someone is beyond volatile. Like I've been literally as an adult, like in the past couple of years, I've had some drunk dude shove me at a bar in this public place, and I'm like, but if I can go ahead and through like verbal mental combat in 9 minutes, give me enough time. We'll have our arms around each other, and he'll be buying me a round of beers. Like if I can do that, there's like maybe it's the business sales part in my brain.
It's the I don't need to prove to you that I'm as tough or tougher than you.
Yeah.
To get what I want out of this.
Because two guys fighting in a bar is not a good look. I don't care if you're the sober one or you didn't start it or you did. It's not a good look for anybody.
I was driving home. Now remember, I'm no expert. I'm 2.5 years into training combat sports.
Yeah.
Like that's my fitness for the last 2.5 years. 3 days a week. One-on-one. Not always 3 days.
It makes sense now why I see you hit the bag on Insta and shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like, generally speaking, I'm going to do a decent job. I'm driving home. I'm parallel parked, actually. And I've been driving for 20 years. I pull the car off the curb, and this car that I thought was like way back just like comes up on me and like pulls off and honks at me. I'm like, that guy was fucking flying. Think nothing of it. We pull up to stoplight. I'm in the left lane. He's in the right lane. And I just look over. Like, of course,
yeah,
we do it.
Of course.
And this guy is irate. Like,
at you.
At me. Like, rolls his window down. Tells me to roll my window down. So I roll my window down. And I'm like, yes? And he's like, did you see me? I'm like, yeah. I thought you were further back. And in that moment, I'm like, he's really angry. I don't want to get in a fist fight, and I don't want to run a red light to avoid one. So I'm going to see if I can defuse this. And I'm like, sir, I'm sorry. I didn't think that you were as close as you were or maybe going as fast as you were. And I apologize. Like, it's my bad, dude. And I think he thought I was being condescending because he opens his car door, and there's no car in the middle lane.
Yeah.
And he starts walking across the street. And I have the window still down, and I'm making a split decision about what do I do here. And I just looked at him, and I was like, sir, I'm not looking for what you're looking for. And I don't think you're looking for what you think you're looking for. Can we just have a good night? And he was like, oh, fuck you. And he turned around and got back in his car. I'm like, I told the guy I train with, I'm like, I kind of wanted to fight him.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wanted to find out if I'm any good. But there's no winner there.
There's some of those guys that I've seen it out. I've seen guys get drunk at bars and wearing the Affliction shirt and they whatever and they go out and they want to present the persona, but the second you just hit him with just like of logic, be like, hey, listen, man, that shirt's pretty fucking dope. If we get in a fight, you're gonna get it ripped, and we're both gonna get kicked out of this bar, and we just paid a $50 cover to get in. And fuck. All right. Like, just like 1 ounce of logic just completely flips that machismo the other way. And there are some guys, like I have buddies, is downtown Cleveland. Then when they go out, like the night doesn't end until they're getting into a fucking full-on Donnybrook.
Right.
Like that's their fucking jam. And, I was just never wired that way. Like I never fighting was something that was like, I didn't do a good enough job being able to sell someone or wordsmith and fucking Frank Underwood my way into their brain.
I usually avoided real fights. Like the fights that I typically got into were like on the basketball court. Which that's getting broken up in
that's a sports-based thing. It's physical already. You're literally 2/3 of the way to a fight in any of those sports.
Right. Like the last time that I actually got into a real fight, I actually didn't throw any punches. I was able to just like slip 2 or 3 and then get out of there. Was with a friend on a basketball court. Like a real friend. If I saw him outside, I would like...
Those are the best fights to get into because then you can knuck it up after. It's like, hey, I love you, man. Yeah. Sorry, let's go get dinner.
He took like 3 wild swings. I ducked one, I slipped one, and I moved out of the way. I'm like, you really want to do this?
Yeah.
Like, but so they're on like courts.
Yeah.
Like it's not real. I've gotten in 2 real fights, and I couldn't even tell you if I won or lost. Like, one time I was like, I got some really good shots in, and I was pissing blood the next day, and I didn't even know how that happened. So fighting
Did
to
you
me...
do Murph? No, it wasn't Murph. It wasn't Rab, though. No.
Fighting to me is like, I feel bad for people who feel like they need to fight.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what? You're that close all the time? Like, you're angry enough to want to inflict harm on somebody else all the time that I don't want to be around that.
I don't want to fight, but like with people I'm close with, girlfriends, family, love to argue. Like where I go into a family like event and I'm like, oh, I know all of your fucking buttons. And I literally, how long am I here today? I'm here 6 hours. I'm like, I'm just going to have a button pushing fucking fiasco. I'm going to be like a 3-year-old in a goddamn elevator. Yeah. And there's that part of me that's like this, not even, I guess it's immature, but it's just like this part, like I love the art of debating and just doing that whole thing.
Last night at the dinner table with my parents and my brother-in-law and my sister, my wife was like, I'm going downstairs to bed. We love.
I know that scenario.
I said, like, we love to debate to the point that today my father said to me, he's like, was I too hard on you yesterday? I was like, I was thinking the same thing about if I was too hard on you yesterday. So no, we're good.
Yeah, that's dope. I fucking love that, man.
Yeah.
Brother, this has been absolutely awesome. The last thing I want to jam on real quick on here before we go, how long have you been in this town? Again, I spent a little bit of time. I had the Uber guy drive around for a little bit before.
Is that because he was lost?
I've never been here. Like I heard Long Beach, and I told you I thought Snoop, and I'm like, no wait, he's California. Like This is how long have you been in this? Like, is this how long is this?
11 years.
And do you really think you're gonna make this your petri dish for the first experiment for this whole thing, this bigger mission? You'd like to if you could. Kids are here. They're in school. It makes sense. You got a house here.
The things that would stop it would be financial.